Alrighty, guys. Hello. I didn't do my normal thing, but if you don't know who I am, my name is Shook. I make videos for NBA, make videos for NFL as well when I get the chance. All these videos they get posted on this subreddit right here. It's called DF Sports. I make updates with all the news that comes out throughout the day. You can ask me questions up to lock. I'll always respond to you. Really great benefit to these videos is me actually interacting with you guys. I think that's a big plus to that. That'll be linked down below. And if you ever need to get a hold of me privately, you can get a hold of me on Twitter right here or Reddit Messenger if Twitter doesn't work. Sometimes it's not working for some people. That's fine. But let's go into my lineups from tonight. So another really good night. If you are interested in joining my Discord, I'll have a link down below as well, where I give you guys cores of players to play, private videos, whole bunch of stuff. That'll be linked down below. Another back-to-back good days, back-to-back cores absolutely crushing. My core today was Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam, Bobby Portis, and Otto Porter. So Otto Porter was the dud, but Siakam was the nuke. Bobby Portis also a nuke. I don't understand. Okay, Bobby Portis was projected for like 40% ownership today. And I was really confused because in my video yesterday, I was saying how much I liked Bobby Portis with Jay Crowder out and that he gets a boost, but I did not expect him to project for that much ownership. I really didn't. But I played him anyway. He was a great play with no Crowder. Hopefully you guys got to him as well. And then I rounded out my lineup with Io. He was one of the worst plays on the slate. I needed a cheap player because Giannis was only projected for like 10% today, and I wasn't going to pass up on a 10% Giannis. And I had Siakam and Scotty in my core as well. You guys knew Toronto was my favorite team to target in my video from last night, and I play what I like. I play what I say I'm gonna like, and I wanted Giannis as well. So unfortunately, I did have to play Io. But yeah, he was one of the worst plays on the slate. And then I also had Koulibaly over Torrey Craig in this spot. Cost me a couple points, but not mad with that. I think I preferred Craig to Koulibaly. Koulibaly's minutes are just pretty volatile. He's gained minutes from like Gafford getting injured, blowouts, and stuff like that. And he was also 30% owned, while you have Craig at 10% owned. Craig was the much better play. Just didn't work out. But Koulibaly nuked. Was like 7-8 point difference, but both did well. So really good night, back to back. Really good nights. So hope you guys had a good night as well, and we'll get into this 10-game slate, I think it is. And I think we have enough of a sample now to where we'll bring back the pace and defensive rating stuff. I think that also can help you guys out as well. All right, Miami Charlotte. So I haven't really looked at the pace and defensive rating so far this season because the sample hasn't been the best, but I guess we'll take a look at it out. Look at it. So no surprise, Charlotte, one of the fastest paced teams in the league, and if I took a guess, they're probably at the bottom. Yep, and they're at the bottom. So it's a really good spot here for Miami. No Tyler Hero. We have Josh Richardson, obviously probable. Starting lineup, you're going to get Butler, Bam, Lowry, Duncan, and who am I missing? Lowry, Bam, Butler, Duncan, and Haywood Highsmith. So it's a really good spot. I mean, Butler's production has been very up and down, but we know if the game stays close, he is going to play huge minutes. Hasn't been the best, but if he's low owned in a spot like this up against the Charlotte Hornets in a up-tempo spot, then yeah, I have a ton of interest for tournaments. Bigs still a thing against Charlotte. I have no issue if you want to pay this price point for Bam. I would say he's getting to the price point where I think he should be, but I still think he's solid even at 9K. Kyle Lowry, very safe at 5.9K. Would also say he's priced about right, but like the spot once again. And then Duncan, it's going to be interesting to see what his ownership is because he is playing huge minutes right now and he does have this type of ceiling. But when he's not hitting his shots, he does have this type of floor. I'd say he's priced right or a little bit overpriced right now. But if he's low owned, I have no issue taking a shot on him just because he does have this type of ceiling. And then you have Haywood Highsmith at 4-3, just a fair value. Very low usage this game. Everyone was out and also was a bit of an outlier, but playable if you need it. And then Jack has been getting really, really good minutes off the bench. I actually think he's a solid value, actually. Can stuff the stat sheet. If we continue to get like high 20s to around 30 minutes, he definitely looks like a solid value on this slate. Now, there is a lot of injury news to keep an eye on. So being able to check up on the Reddit is going to be extremely, extremely important because there is a ton of stuff to keep an eye on here. So Rozier is going to be out. Let's go over pace and defensive rating for Miami. So they're going to be up there, I believe, 14th in pace, 14th in pace, and 9th in defensive rating. So not the best spot here for Charlotte. So with Rozier out, I mean, Lamelo's fine. Not my favorite spend up on this slate. I think more of a contrarian play for me. And then everyone's priced up in a bad spot. So like I don't think I can pay that price for Hayward. PJ is overpriced. Mark Williams, it's a pretty bad spot for him. Production also up and down, but does have a ceiling. Don't love the price point there. Brandon Miller, no thank you. Just pretty unappealing team to me. I think the only one I'm really considering there is LaMelo Ball. Not the best spot for the Pacers, but pace-wise, Sixers are up there in pace this year. 13th in pace makes sense. And 7th in defensive rating. So Tyrese Haliburton, I'm not going to say no if you want to play him. I mean, like I said, in a competitive game, Tyrese Haliburton's going to play 36, 37, 38 minutes. He is their go-to guy. He's stuffing the stat sheet. He's basically a lock for a double-double almost every single night. So the floor is pretty high with him, plus ceiling. We'll talk about a guard on the other side of this game that I actually prefer for like $1,200 less. But Haliburton's fine. I think there are better spend ups though. And the absolute fish, we'll say it's a bad matchup for Miles Turner, but it is not. Whenever a big actually goes and shoots 3-point shots, it's actually a better spot going up against Embiid. So I don't mind Turner here. People are going to be shied away by the matchup and the absolute slaps. But yeah, whenever a big can actually shoot threes, it's actually a good spot for the big going up against Embiid. Turner can do a little bit of that. So I don't mind Turner here. The rest of the rotation is just really, really disgusting. Bruce Brown's overpriced. Mathurin, he gets benched half the time, so hard to trust him. I'm not going to play him on a 10-game slate. Jalen Smith will get the backup. 5 good point per minute, but I think he's a bit overpriced. There's just not much here. On to the Sixers. So Joel Embiid will get the first piece of news for the slate is questionable. Going over pace for the Pacers, 3rd in pace and 27th in defensive rating. So it's a really good spot here. So Joel Embiid's questionable. We'll go over it both ways. If he is in, then I really like Joel Embiid's ceiling here at the top. Now, are you gonna play Jokic or are you gonna play Embiid? That's the tough point, right? I think Jokic is just the much better play, but it's a really, really good spot. Been insane. Averaging like 30 points a game right now, double upside, good defender. I have no issue if you want to play Embiid. I think he looks good. I even still like Tyrese Maxey at this price point. I was drafting Tyrese Maxey in like the 9th round at best ball this year when absolutely nobody wanted him. Just makes no sense to me, but he's going to play 40 minutes, and even if the game blows out, he's going to play 35 plus. Like, they're playing him, and they're going to keep him in with his rotation, so I don't think you have to worry about blow risk too much. He's still going to reach like 33, 34, 35 minutes anyway, upwards of up to 38 plus, and the amount of volume he is shooting with right now, his ceiling is just absolutely massive. We saw it last game. His assist numbers are way up with no Harden. He's rebounding the ball well, so his floor is a lot higher than it was last year. I still like Tyrese Maxey even at 9K. Tobias Harris is indifferent on if Embiid plays. Melton, don't love much. And I'd assume with Batum and Oubre out, Robert Covington moves into the starting lineup. Assuming he does, I think he is a solid value, guy that can contribute in a lot of ways, and I think he'd probably play low to mid 20s minutes at least. So, like Rocco. And then if Embiid's out, that changes everything. Then I absolutely love Maxey. Then I really like Tobias Harris. Then I like Melton a lot. Would like Robert Covington. Then Paul Reed would be the best value play on the slate, and it wouldn't even be close. Like, just lock Paul Reed. Would really like these Sixers guys if Joel Embiid is out. Moving on to Atlanta. So, okay spot here for Atlanta. Detroit are, where's Detroit? 17th in pace and defensive rating. They're 20th. So, Trae Young is questionable. The other piece of news. There's a lot more news now. If Trae's in, I'd like his ceiling for tournaments. He's going to play huge minutes. He's going to stuff the stat sheet, kind of like Tyrese Halliburton has double upside almost every single night. So I like Trae. DeJounte Murray's fine, but I prefer Trae. Jalen Johnson, his minutes were kind of shit last game, but I think that was a bit of an outlier. Normally, I think we get around 30 minutes. He also good rebounder that can stuff the stat sheet. I think he'll be a bit low owned after last game. I do like him as a bounce back here. Capella, Okongwu, these two guys, they'll split the center minutes. No real strong takes there. Hard for me to go there on this big of a slate. And then not going to get to the value. Now, if Trae Young's out, that changes everything. Then DeJounte Murray looks like one of the best plays in the slate. Then Bogdan Bogdanovic looks like one of the best value plays in the slate. Jalen Johnson gets a boost with like him. The bigs don't really change much for me. The wings get a little bit of a boost. Hunter, Bay, they'd be solid. So kind of like the Sixers, the whole team would look great. Moving on to Detroit. So Atlanta, second in pace and 18th in defensive rating. Cade, I mean, here's the thing with Cade. He's either in foul trouble, his production's up and down. It's up to you. He's always in play for tournaments because he can break a slate. Now the price point's down, so I don't mind him. But range of outcomes definitely up there. With Duran out, you're going to get Bagley in the starting lineup. Oh, excuse me. Minutes aren't going to be great, though. They're also playing Stewart backup 5, and they're also playing James Wiseman. So the minutes aren't going to be too great on Bagley, so he's more of a tournament play for me. I think the guy that stands out to me the most with Duran out is Isaiah Stewart. I still think he's a bit too cheap. The backup 5 minutes also do help a lot. So I like beef stew there. And with the guards in, I'm not going to go to anyone else. If you think like some foul trouble happens or anything, you think like James Wiseman gets some run, I guess I'll mention him just because he's good point per minute, but don't love it on this big of a slate. I'm sure some better value will open up. All right, Orlando at Brooklyn. Brooklyn, they play, I want to say, where are they? 16th in pace, and I want to say they are down here somewhere, 19th in defensive rating. So, Wendell Carter Jr. out, Markelle Fultz out. Paolo, Franz, they're both priced right to me. Prefer Paolo to Franz. I think I'm mainly looking to the guards here with Fultz out. I think Jalen Suggs looks pretty good at 5.9K, and I think Cole looks pretty good at 5.7K. You're also probably going to get Anthony Black starting. He's a fair value. The bigs don't have too much interest in on this big of a slate, but I think Mo would probably be my favorite there. They're kind of changing who they're closing with. Like, some games they're playing Isaac more. Now, Isaac is a really good point per minute guy, so if you want to include him in your like 150 max pool, I wouldn't mind that just because he can do this in limited run. But I think I'm mainly looking to the guards here for Orlando. Brooklyn at Orlando. Let's go over the Brooklyn side. Orlando's 18th in pace, and they are second defensive ratings. Not the best spot here. Bridges does have a ceiling. Think he's priced right. I think the main guys that I like here quite a bit are going to be Cam Johnson and Claxton. First 2 games back has pushed around 30 minutes. Well north of a fantasy point per minute guy or around a fantasy point per minute guy. Kind of the same thing I'll say with like Jared Allen. If you give him like 30 minutes, he does have this upside. So I think Claxton's very safe. I like him for tournaments. And then Cam Johnson, minutes lifted, played 35 last game. If we're going to get 35-ish minutes from him, he is too cheap with these guys out. So yeah, I like Claxton. I like Cam Johnson. Dinwiddie's fine, but the minutes all over the place. No, Ben Simmons' ball handling should be a bit better. But don't love it. And with Cam Johnson playing more, it's going to hurt the other wings. So let's move on to this team. Just you have Keldon questionable, you have Sochan questionable, you have Trey Jones questionable. It's just tough to say right now. OKC 6th in pace and 17th defensive rating. So if you get all these guys out, I would assume, Wemby, Zach Collins, Vassell, and you're probably going to get Branham and Doug McDermott. I think would be the starting lineup. In the off chance, I guess they could go to like a Chetty, but I think they want him kind of off the bench. So if everyone's in, there's no standouts here for me. Like Wemby always has a ceiling. The Wemby Chet matchup should be pretty good here. But would really be no standouts to me. I think this team would just be more of a tournament team for me. Sochan would look fine at his price point, but at his price, I don't think he has their ceiling to really win you a tournament. Vassell, Keldon, they always have a ceiling. Zach Collins' minutes aren't great. Wouldn't be much, but if everyone's out, that does change some things. Then, Wemby's going to have to do more offensively. I would like him a bit more. I think the guy that would stand out to me the most would be Devin Vassell. He would just have to do a ton more offensively. So I would like Vassell quite a bit, and I think Branham would be a solid value, and then Doug McDermott would be playable, and then Chetty Osman would get a boost. If you want to go to him as like a pivot off Doug in large field, I guess you could. So let's move on to OKC here. Good spot up against the Spurs. Spurs 8th in pace. And where are they? 29th in defensive rating. So SGA at 10-3. I mean, I'm not going to say no if you want to play him. He's playing huge minutes. He's just on another level right now. 29.4 points per game. 35, 33, 43. Will somewhat stuff the stat sheet as well. The volume's just insane. It's a good spot up against the Spurs. I think he stands out as one of the better spend-ups on this slate. Chet, I'm always fine with Chet. Giddey, I think is overpriced. Jalen Williams is priced right. I'm not going to go to anyone else on this OKC team. Let's move over to Dallas. So, not the best spot up against the Pels. They're 10th in pace. Where are they? I thought they're like kind of in the mid. I guess they're 23rd in defensive rating. So Luka, Kyrie, it's the only two I'm considering on this team. Like Luka, love his ceiling. I think I rank some other spend ups ahead of him, point per dollar. Like I think I rank Jokic ahead of him. I kind of like Embiid in the spot ahead of him. I think SGA looks a little bit better point per dollar. If I had to rank them straight up, it would be obviously Luka. And Jokic probably my top two, and then Embiid right behind them, or it's very, very close. But the rotation they're running in Dallas just disgusting. So I like Luka's ceiling. He's always the top spender for me on any slate. Kyrie Irving's playable. Finally got the ceiling game last game. Does have this type of ceiling, but his price point doesn't really stand out too much to me. I don't know why they're just not playing lively that much. I don't understand it. Derek Jones Jr. finally came down to earth. There was no way I was playing. I'm still not going to play him. Grant Williams, no. Josh Green will get run. I don't think I can do it. So pretty much just stay away from me. I think I'm going to try and speed this up here. Going really, really slow here. Dallas, it's probably this pace stuff. I got to figure out where everyone is. 9th in pace. 24th in defensive rating. So I like the price point here on Zion quite a bit. CD out. We have Herb Jones also questionable. If Herb's in, it's kind of going to take Dyson out of play, and Hawkins wouldn't look as good. But I like the price point quite a bit on Zion at 8.5K. In competitive games, he's going to play close to 40 minutes. With no CJ, his peripherals go up as well. So I like Zion quite a bit at 8.5. I think Ingram's fine, but I prefer Zion. Jonas, minutes, not great, but does have this type of ceiling, more of a tournament play for me. And then if Herb's in, kind of takes me off the value. If Herb's out, then I like Dyson quite a bit once again. Played him here, massive blow up, but in a competitive game, he's going to play close to 40 minutes. Not a terrible point per minute guy either. It's stuff the stat sheet. So I would like Dyson quite a bit if Herb's out, and then Hawkins I think would be solid. But this guy has caused everyone incredible amounts of pain. It's just been horrid. It's been horrid. Portland, Utah. Utah is hello? I should just control F. 5th in pace. I thought they were up there. They're down there in defensive rating. 28th. So no Brogdon, no Scoot. Obviously, Robert Williams is going to be out once again. So Skylar Mays at 6.7 probably looks the best on this team point per dollar. For some reason, started the half and came out a bit like right away. I didn't understand that, but I think we get mid-30s minutes once again. He's going to stuff the stat sheet. So I'm still high on Skylar Mays even at almost 7K, but it's going to be more usage for Sharp, going to be more usage for Grant. Aiton's fine. So I like Grant, I like Sharp. I think they're both two good plays. Aiton's solid as well. I'm not going to play Thibault, but he's playable. And then Kamara should get good minutes off the bench. Fair value if you need it. All right, let's move on to Utah. So John Collins is probable. We have Walker Kessler out. We're going to ditch this. I think we did good enough. So Markkanen's fine at 8-7. Jordan Clarkson also just fine. Does have a ceiling. More contrarian plays to me. I think my favorite, once again, is going to be John Collins at the 5. I know the production's been bad, but historically his rates at the 5 are a lot better than when he plays the 4. So she'll play huge minutes as well. So I'm going to keep hammering Collins. I think he's a good play once again. Keontae George, been getting good run. 30 minutes in the starting lineup. Going to stuff the stat sheet. I still think he's a good play, even at 5-3. THT no, Olynyk no. Agbaji's been starting. He's a very low usage guy. This was a bit of an outlier, but another just like playable value if you need it. All right, Clippers, not the best spot here. This team's just a cross-off for me. If I had to pick one for large field tournaments, it would probably be Westbrook, I guess, but basically a cross-off. Jokic, best bet up on the slate. No Murray. Just shot attempts are insane right now. Minutes, insane. Hopefully the Clippers can actually keep this close. They have looked god-awful. Rates, insane. Rebounding, triple-double upside. He looks phenomenal. He's the best bet up on the slate. It's not close. And then I'm going to keep hammering Aaron Gordon and MPJ. With no Murray, they get a boost as well. And they go low-owned every single slate. So I like Gordon. I like MPJ. Reddy's fine. And not going to go too much else there. Timberwolves. So, Ant Cat, I think both look good. I think I give the edge to Cat point per dollar, but they're going to run a tight rotation here. These two are going to lead the way offensively, like the spot up against the Warriors as well. I think Cat should just be able to feast here. So I think Ant Cat are both pretty solid plays. Rudy Gobert's just fine. Mike Conley, safe value. Don't love much else here. I think we'll find better value. So another news we have to keep an eye on, Steph Curry. If he's in, it's just Steph for me at the top. Draymond's fine too, but if he's out, then that changes things. Then I think Chris Paul looks amazing. Would really like Chris Paul. Then I think Wiggins would look pretty good. Draymond would be. His rates are actually worse with Steph off the court, so I wouldn't like Draymond as much. Clay gets a boost. He'd have to do more offensively. And then some value we could get to, like Moody will probably get a boost. You can go to like, I don't know, GP2 might play more. There'll be a lot to like here with the Warriors. And last game of the night, guys, Tillman's questionable if he's in, and he's not on a limit. I actually do like him if he's not on a limit. If he's out, Biyombo's fine. Marcus Smart at 6'2", feels like a pretty safe play to me. Jaren Bain, like their price points once again. I think I give the edge to Jaren point per dollar. Luke Kennard's overpriced, and Gilliard I think is solid value at 4.5. Guy that can stuff the stat sheet. Don't love much else. And then last team we got to keep an eye on is LeBron James. Now, if LeBron is in, I think it's just AD and LeBron for me at the top. If LeBron's out, then that changes everything once again. Then Anthony Davis is going to shoot up to one of the better spin-ups on the slate. Then D'Lo would look good at 7.5. I would like Reeves a lot off the bench. I would really like Rui for value. I would like Reddish quite a bit for value. Taurean Prince would be a fine value. There would just be a ton to like here for the Lakers. So that's going to wrap it up, guys. Hope you guys had a good night tonight, and I'll talk to y'all in the next one.